You reach for another piece. You told yourself you were done. But there it is again, that quiet pull, that insistence from somewhere deeper than thought, that one more won't hurt, that stopping now would feel like a small and inexplicable loss. You are not weak. You are not broken. What's happening inside you right now is one of the oldest survival programs in the history of your species, running exactly the way it was designed to run, in a world that no longer exists. The real reason you can't stop is far stranger than anything you've been told. Your relationship with sugar didn't begin at a birthday party or a candy aisle. It began roughly 15 million years ago in the forests of what is now sub-Saharan Africa, with a single genetic mutation that changed the fate of an entire primate lineage. A mutation you still carry. One that made sweetness feel, at the deepest level of your nervous system, like survival itself. In 1985, a researcher named Daniel Jansen published a theory about why fruit exists at all. Fruit, he argued, is not a gift, it is a transaction. A plant that produces sweet, calorie-dense fruit is paying an animal with energy to carry its seeds somewhere new. Both survive. Your ancestors were part of that deal for millions of years. They were primates living in forests rich with seasonal fruit. The individuals whose brains fired the strongest reward signal when they tasted sweetness ate more, stored more fat, and survived the dry months. The ones less moved by that pull left fewer descendants. You are descended from the ones who couldn't stop. That is not a metaphor. That is the evolutionary history written into your genome. In 2013, researchers studying the SLC2A2 gene, which governs glucose transport in the brain, found that variations in this gene directly affect how powerfully humans respond to sweet taste. Some people feel a measurably stronger neurological pull toward sugar than others, not because of habit, but because of the precise configuration of a gene shaped by millions of years of selection pressure. That pull is not a character flaw. It is the residue of a survival pressure so ancient it sculpted the physical architecture of your reward circuits. But the story goes deeper than taste. Around 15 million years ago, a mutation occurred in the gene UCP2, governing how efficiently certain primates converted fructose, the sugar in ripe fruit, into stored body fat. Most mammals convert it poorly. Your lineage lost a key enzyme called uricase, and that single loss made the conversion of fructose into fat dramatically more efficient than in almost any other mammal on Earth. Robert Lustig, a metabolic endocrinologist at the University of California, San Francisco, describes this mutation as a famine survival tool of extraordinary power. Every calorie from sweet fruit was stored with maximum efficiency. And critically, fructose does not trigger the hormonal signals that tell your brain you've eaten enough. Leptin barely responds. Ghrelin keeps firing. The ancient logic says, keep eating. Store everything you can. Your brain has not been updated. It is still waiting for the lean months that never come. Every time you eat something sweet, your brain releases dopamine. Not because sugar is chemically identical to a drug, but because your brain has learned, over millions of years, that sweetness reliably predicts high-value calories. Sweetness means ripe fruit. Ripe fruit means survival. The dopamine says, remember this place. Come back tomorrow. The neuroscientist Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan spent years separating two things most people assume are the same: wanting and liking. They are not. They operate in different brain systems, driven by different neurochemicals, and they can be completely separated. The wanting system, driven by dopamine, centered in the nucleus accumbens, fires in anticipation of reward. It creates the pull, the reach, the craving before the sweetness even arrives. The liking system, quieter, running on opioid signals, creates the actual pleasure of the thing itself. Berridge found that if you destroy the wanting system in an animal, it stops pursuing food and starves beside it. Destroy the liking system, and it still pursues food relentlessly but shows no pleasure when it eats. The craving and the satisfaction are not the same mechanism. In a world of processed food, they have been pulled deliberately apart. Researchers at the Monal Chemical Senses Center found that specific combinations of sugar, fat, and salt, calibrated to precise ratios, produce wanting responses powerful enough to override the body's satiety signals almost entirely. The food is not designed to make you feel done, It is designed to prevent you from ever quite getting there. Your brain evaluates a handful of processed crackers with the same ancient machinery it used to assess ripe fruit. It cannot tell the difference. All it registers is sweetness. All it knows is, this is the season. Keep going. Something even stranger is happening below your awareness. Your gut has taste receptors for sugar. Not just your tongue, your stomach lining, your intestines. Researchers confirmed in 2009 that the same sweet-sensing receptors in your mouth are distributed throughout your entire gastrointestinal tract, transmitting signals to your brain through the vagus nerve before you've even finished chewing. Before you've consciously decided to take another bite, your gut has already asked for one. The craving begins in the body before it becomes a recognizable thought. What feels like a quiet moment of temptation is the surface of a chemical conversation that started before you were aware of it. This is why willpower alone is such a frustrating answer. You are not fighting a bad habit. You are fighting a 15-million-year-old survival mechanism running at full power in an environment it was never designed for, surrounded by stimuli engineered specifically to press the exact neurological frequencies it evolved to respond to most intensely. In 2007, researcher Serge Ahmed at the University of Bordeaux gave rats already habituated to cocaine a choice: the drug or sugar water. More than 90% chose the sugar water. Ahmed was careful about his conclusions, and the study has been debated. But the direction it pointed was real. Under the right conditions, the ancient circuitry for sweet taste reward produces craving responses that compete with some of the most powerful pharmacological stimuli known. You are living in a world engineered to exploit the most powerful survival signal your nervous system carries. The craving you feel is not entirely yours. It is older than your habits, older than your childhood. It is the accumulated survival logic of every ancestor who found the ripe fruit before the rains came, of every creature whose dopamine system learned over geological time that sweetness means life and stopping means risk. That pull you feel at 11 at night, standing at the open pantry, that is not weakness. It is evolutionary memory so deep it lives in the receptors lining your gut, in the enzyme pathways still converting fructose as efficiently as possible, in a brain still waiting for the season of scarcity that never arrives. The question is not whether the pull disappears once you understand it. It won't. The question is whether knowing what the signal actually is, where it comes from, how old it is, what it was built for, gives you a space between the pull and the reach. A moment that your ancestors never had. They reached for the sweetness because their survival depended on it. Tonight, when you reach for another piece, you'll know exactly what's reaching and why it was never really about the sugar at all.